there's been a war going on in Syria for a while now, and recently chemical weapons were thought to have been used to kill hundreds of people. The United Nations has now sent in weapons inspectors to find out what actually happened, because using chemical weapons would break the rules of war. So, who knew war had rules? Here's Matt.
Did you know that in the US state of Florida, single women aren't allowed to parachute on Sundays? In London, it's illegal to flag down a taxi if you have the plague. And in France, it's forbidden to call your pig Napoleon. Whether very random or very serious, laws are always there to tell us what we can and can't do. But are there any times when laws don't exist? War might be one of the first situations that comes to mind. After all, people are trying to kill each other, which in normal life is certainly against the law. So maybe during war, there aren't any laws. Well, actually, there are. Here are some of them. People not fighting should not be hurt. No one who surrenders should ever be killed. The wounded should be cared for. No one should attack medics displaying the Red Cross or Red Crescent sign. No one should ever be tortured. And finally, you can't use especially cruel weapons against the enemy. But what is especially cruel? You can argue that any weapon is cruel. Well, there are some weapons that many nations agree cause excessive pain, or are more likely to hurt innocent people. Landmines are one of them. They were used in war for many years. But the big problem with them is that once the war is finished, the mines remain, and innocent people can be killed many years later. That's why 161 countries have agreed not to use these weapons ever again. But recently, the world has been talking about another weapon that's also been banned.
Specifically deterring the use of chemical weapons.
When countries break international norms on weapons like chemical weapons that could threaten us, that they are held accountable.
Chemical weapons use deadly chemicals instead of explosives. They can spread a long way, and those not killed by them can be badly injured or suffer painful disabilities for life. And in Syria, rebels claim chemical weapons were used against them. The United Nations has sent weapons inspectors in to make sure they're telling the truth. They're experts in weapons of mass destruction. We've seen weapons inspectors before. In 2002, before the start of the war in Iraq, UN weapons inspectors had the job of looking for evidence of chemical or nuclear weapons. This man, Hans Blix, led the team. But after a lot of searching, he and his team turned up nothing. In Syria, their job is very different. They're investigating if chemical weapons were used. If they were, the rules of war have been broken. And many world leaders say that's reason enough to help the rebels by striking against the Syrian government. So that's one rule of war it seems lots of people are willing to fight to uphold. Now if only we could work on all the other ones too.